The people love the Mega Evolutions, but what they seem to love even more is resetting their DS 6,000 times a day, willingly grafting like they're on the payroll of a Vietnamese Nike sweatshop, all in the name of Blue Shuckle, with new forms on the horizon. For now, I have to tide over my insatiable hunger. So why not see what the shinies are saying before you can watch me feast on Legend Czar? Their time will come. They can all get the business in 2025. But for now, the shiny Mega Evolutions are all I can feast upon. Lucario's Mega. Its shiny got done quite literally dirty here. It's as if they watercolored the yellow, and clearly they weren't willing to give Sugimori his wages to get the job done properly. Cheaped out and had one of the apprentices sort it out, and he got the yellow all mixed in with the black or some kind of green. I don't know where you're getting green from painting Lucario, but it's mixed in there somehow. The gold works fine in the base form, but it looks so filthy here for some reason. It's as if you Mega evolved shiny Lucario and left him unsupervised in a waterlogged pig pen. Guy would fold quicker than a poorly trained Cocker Spaniel. Guy has the vibrance of a pair of white Air Force Ones you took quad biking, and now that's about as clean as you're ever going to see him again. It was already a risky shade of yellow to be using. You didn't need to give it the sleek, refreshing shine of an unbleached urinal. I'm trying to keep what I think of the Pokemon separate to how good of a shiny it is. But I am only human, and Mega Heracross is only what I can assume to be some kind of demon akin to Mr. Frog. He's not a frog, he's a demon. This is not a Heracross, nor is it a Pokemon. He's a demon. After all these years, Mega Heracross is still looking vile. Not even the King's color purple, a conqueror's coat of paint, can salvage this little freak. Purple shinies often work well, but Mega Heracross is looking disgusting in any color you lather him up in. You could cover Mega Heracross in a 5-inch layer of platinum and he'd still look flat broke. There's no suit alive that'd make Mega Heracross look like a main event player. The guy should just consider himself lucky it's a temporary change. He needs to put his foot down and say, if anyone goes near me again with that Mega Ring, they're getting their throats chopped. And I'll be in the Mega form too, so fucking hurt. The idea of making Houndoom shiny, sort of like a rare coat of fur, like it's a blue staffy, that may be good in practice. You know, like if it were a real dog, like Lassie or Isabel, but as a set of edge loops and polygons and what have you, it just looks as though you got stupidly unlucky and caught yourself the one existing Houndoom that could somehow be frozen. Like the 3D model's been edited to reflect that little frizz icon, along with literally everything in Pokemon. Houndoom shiny seemingly translates much more in the sprite form, but seeing as Mega Houndoom is a 3D creation, then it's only fair that judgment shall rain down upon it as such. 2D is like a sleek moonlight glow. All that aura is gone, straight out the window once it cracks into that third dimension. If there's any way you want to remove the aura to a creature, wolves and dogs especially, you give them that lazy color grading job they did on Twilight. You just drag that temperature bar straight down into the blue, hit that render, easy days graft sorted, off the spoons, 10 a.m. It don't matter, it's a shit movie anyway. Nothing could shatter your reputation of having believed to be the Grim Reaper incarnate more than looking as though you on the daily lose scraps against Nazi vampires. I feel as though I shouldn't give praise to a shiny, which really should have been the original color palette for Mega Aerodactyl to begin with. Or at least, it's about 10% towards that objective. Aerodactyl's true primal form, so they say. You'd imagine he'd be looking the least bit more tropical for the occasion. But even then, this is hardly all there, is it? He's still got a long way to go from looking as though it's in his prehistoric prime, shiny or not. He should be looking much more, I don't know, how many times have I brought this up? He should look a bit volcanic or something like that. But nah, it looks like it has the same naked mole rat texture as a Mew. There's a lot more going for Aggron shiny in the Mega form, but something about it, I can't shake off the idea that it looks as though it's made of rubber, which I don't know if that's what you want for a form change with the sole intent of making something purely steel. Looks like he has the same texture as one of those pen erasers that have literally never worked in the history of humanity. Feel like if it used Heavy Slam on a Sudowoodo, it'd just scrub him out of existence. We got soft play Aggron. Could step into Adventure Island, one of them soft play areas, without a single child casualty on its pro record. Razor sharp steel Mega Aggron looking like it's designed to sink warships. Then shiny Mega Aggron looks like it'd struggle to sink a bouncy castle. Mega Alakazam is just a bit too underwhelming, because you really could have had a bit of fun with this shiny. At minimum, they could have got a bit loose with the spoons. You'd think for an avid spoon enthusiast, he'd just take a day off from the stainless steel. Maybe break into the nice porcelain for the weekend. Maybe get a nice multi-pack of the rubber ones so you're not bending and breaking them all the time. But let's say spoons, fair enough. They're a separate entity to Mega Alakazam. It's not part of the biology. They're purchased in bulk off of Amazon. There's no reason that shiny beard remained undyed. We could have witnessed red-bearded Mega Alakazam looking like a medieval bartender. He'd switch class from wizard to bard real quickly, going from pondering orbs to pouring cheap ale, giving goblins bitty, handing out side quests, giving out all the chat of any rumours going about the village. Look, you might think you've had a proper Guinness in your day. Your local pours at best, whatever. Or just you wait. See, you've had one poured with telekinesis, using the old noggin. That's what we need more of. Personalised shiny forms. I'm not asking for him to be armed with 5 screwdrivers and a ski mask. He'd look Glaswegian enough with the red beard. But you know, only one in, players would see this in their game file. So you might as well have a bit of the crack with it. Not too much going on for Tyranitar. To me, the shiny just makes for a much less ripe, and I'd therefore assume much angrier Tyranitar. Do you know if you really want? Base form already has enough tricep meat hanging off him to wipe out a series of small islands, then as we can all see, gets juiced up even further into Trinitar. And on top of that, the guy sparkles like a Deathclaw coming to wipe out your town, looking like he's just cleaned out behind the bar to a pride glitter party. Definitely fits the bill of an entity that spawns sandstorms entering any door it sees, much more this way. So juiced up with seemingly zero hydration in that crusty container it's walking about in. Shiny is looking bone dry. How is my man gonna sparkle and look this unmoisturized? It wouldn't exactly be a huge crowd pleaser on the leash down Square. All the kids wanting to play with the rare shiny Tyranitar, only to find it's like stroking a burnt slice of toast. Kangaskhan has near enough the same change Tyranitar does, where it just kind of loses any vibrancy or ripeness it would have had if it weren't a genetic freak, an albino of its species. But this one is hardly even a form change to begin with. It's just the whole family jumps you instead. So for a Mega Evolution, which changes 90% of nothing, you really can't expect much different for the shiny, can ya? This one has always been underwhelming when they've had Crystal Onyx from the anime sitting right there doing nothing, unemployed, jobless, Mega Steelix all shined up, gold plates installed. It's lucky enough to be a genetic anomaly of its species, unlucky enough that the rest of the Steelix would exile you for looking like you got cheap and lazy on the trade evolution. Too stingy to pay for the metal coat, were you? So you just stole some copper before hopping through the trade cable. It doesn't even really look as though it's upgrading from steel to gold, like they were probably going for. He didn't pay the extra going to a proper detailer for that job, looking about as gold plated as a ring you won from a Christmas cracker. Not my first time having the dressed down Sceptile shiny and giving it yet another ocular pat down. Maybe its mega form can sway the 3 judges, my remaining 3 brain cells. But the scorecards are in. The boys up there, they've decided, and it's gonna be it's still not getting the clear from me. The man still looks washed. Although, I'll give him this. It's slightly better as a Mega, because there's more colour on his back to work with. Plenty more orbs to be pondering, so it's a bit more forgivable. For some reason, Mega Blaziken loses that extra crispy looking color palette the base form shiny had going for it. You know, the one where it looks more cinematic. Those simple darker tones, they have me thinking, if I zoomed in on the PNG far enough, I'd be able to see denim texture on those legs like he's a Smash Bros. Brawl render. It's as if Mega Blaziken shiny does the reverse of what standard Blaziken shiny does, and brings it back down to those brighter, less defined colors. But Mega Blaziken, it should have got the VIP treatment. It should look like a demon. It should have got one of them Gengar treatments. The Eon Birds is another proper downgrade both ways, coming from that smooth green and orange their original shinies had. Bad enough they get gentrified in the remakes, then they give the shinies the textbook Control CV combo with the Nickelodeon slime filter again. Even if they just made the shinies retain their original color again, give them back their individuality, Mega Evolution forcefully stripped away from them, then that'd have been simple. That'd have been the pair of them sorted. Mega Banette, it probably would have benefited going down the Mega Gengar shiny route as opposed to, you know, the standard Gengar shiny route. Even like a color invert would have been mad enough for it. I mean, at the very least, you could have taken a few creative liberties with the zips. Maybe it would have taken some of the limelight away from Gengar had Banette also been a white ghost shiny. Might be asking for too much to take a page out of Gengar's white body, but it could have taken a page from them Snow White chompers. Banette zip, it could do with a good wash. You know, it's actually quite impressive to look as though you have the teeth of a crackhead, but not a single one has fallen out. You still have the full set. Truly a terrifying creature to behold. A smackhead who's retained the ability to cause piercing damage. A victim to the slight pinkish tints. Garchomp already loses a bit of aura changing into the Mega form, which is mad to say considering he now looks as though he leads bull sharks into the afterlife. Guy's built like the Grim Reaper for Blue Eyes White Dragons. It gets downgraded arguably as a Mega, so it doesn't need that rough shark-like skin getting nerfed as well. But in all fairness, even though it's not a particularly great shiny, the base form one had literally nothing going for it. Completely sourceless. So even just the purple tint job, it's at least getting some action this way. Mega Abomasnow, it's not an insane shiny by any means. Not one you'd be setting up a factory line of 3DS on your desk to be maximizing the soft resets. But the all blue, it's a bit of a smooth fit for him. Like if they didn't feel the need to have the color of a Pokemon correlate to the color of their type so often. This is probably what Abomasnow would have looked like if they didn't feel the need to give you the context clue. You know, that little visual reminder that it's on the grass type payroll. I hadn't thought much of the Antsy shinies, just looking as though they've been down in the bloody mines for 14 hours today. But you have to respect the attire, just a little bit. The almost neon pink, I have to say, is some relatively high baller attire. Maybe my brain is more fried than usual, but I swear, this neon pink and the charcoal grey, they actually go in a bit together. Mega Altaria works the golden gimmick a lot more than the base, because you know, it's got a bit more to flaunt about with. Getting that belly out for the boys, all exposed like that. That belly would be a mighty shade of pink at the mercy of Ed, I'll tell you that much. Luckily, it helps that it's got that base form Lucario shiny golden god glow, and not the sort of glow that has your doctor prescribe you a lifetime ban participating in the consumption of anything Monster Energy related. I reckon for what it is, Mega Ordino has a solid shiny. Sometimes when they're a full-on white design, it's like they don't have much to work with. You have no sauce to invert the colors on, do you know what I mean? Like they're just dying to shift the hue bar, but obviously white has no color to transition off, so all you're getting is a light touch-up on the shadows. But the yellow eyes, some purple gradients going for it. It's quite a hard look for Ordino, relatively speaking. It might not seem like much, but it's a lot better than another shiny coloring themselves in Goblin Maxin. Gallade's Mega Shiny, it doesn't have much to show for it. It's a bit of a similar case to Ordino where, you know, it's just all white, so they haven't really flipped any of the colors. The changes it has aren't nearly as visible compared to your standard Gallade. That being said, still looking somewhat sleek. Perhaps you could have done more. Actually, no, you definitely could have done more. They should have leaned into Gallade being this Roman gladiator. That's what it could have been. A champion combatant using the Mega Ring on your Gallade. Have your opponent thinking they've stepped into a Kingdom Hearts 2 secret boss fight. Stepping up to you like his lingering will. Mega Glalie with a simple red eye change. Now I see where you're probably going with this. Oh, you could argue, your man's hardly even a Mega form, let alone a shiny. But I think in its own way, it's a lot better having this more personalized. You have yourself a shiny with a bit of intimacy behind it. Red-eyed Glalie is a much more unique crack at his shiny form than a lathering Lucario in expired honey. I even prefer this because it just reinforces the gimmick of levitating hockey mask, as if the outside of it is just a shell. Really just makes me think the Mega form should have gave him a levitating stick to go along with him. Or at the very least, if he's gonna be soy facing all over the place, at least give him a little mouth guard made of ice or something. Blastoise, we meet again, big man. Not much to note for his Mega form. I've been here quite a lot of times before. Really, just a one-to-one scale of his original shiny, which was already a robust bit of recoloring in its own right, so fair one there. Just has that slightly deeper tone of blue and purple on the skin, as if you're meeting Blastoise's dad, like Patrick Starr's dad. Well, the pretend ones. Anyway, got that darker, patriarchal, head of the table shade to him. It's a solid shiny Mega Absol, and I do like it. This is alright, but I'm thinking there was plenty of juice left to be squeezing out that furry Capri Sun, a natural disaster Pokemon, mistaken for the bringer of doom. For the shiny, just go full Shadow the Hedgehog. Embrace the new metal agenda. Give me an Absol crossed with a Houndoom, even if it were just a much darker shade of red towards what it already had going on. Like, come on. Time to stop pissing about it. Your head's got a scythe attachment built in. You can get a bit more evil looking. Mewtwo in the Mega forms is keeping it lemon, keeping it lime. The pure white lime green combo is solid. Maybe it would have been nice to see him, I guess ironically enough, get a bit more experimental with the Mewtwo's. But it works pretty well for the original, and it definitely works here. So, you know what? Fair play to the shiny Mewtwo and its 2 Mewtwo's. I'm still rating Greenasaur just a solid shiny variation with that healthy green nuclear glow juiced off the Mega Stone and UV rays. That is a Venusaur in its absolute element. This Venusaur must be buzzing off his nut with solar power. Can probably shoot solar beams from its retinas like a Blastoise using Hydro Pump from its shoulders, hanging ear to ear. This must be what it's like to consume an entire Togepi in one go. Off the charts, serotonin for life. Never once thought about how terrifying a Gurnin Venusaur would be. As you can see, the shiny Salamence are in clear disagreement with the regular kind. It appears your argument is invalid, for I have already depicted you as the soy Union Jack Salamence, and myself the Chad Irish Flag Salamence. It's a bit loud to look at when you first see it, but once you take a bit of time for your eyes to ocularly digest it, it's actually a solid Mega Shiny, I'd say. The orange is hard carrying right now, though. I don't think I have another pure green shiny form left in me. Anyway, here's another pure green shiny form in Mega Scizor. But you have to be fair on this one. For being a metallic mantis, the green's very on brand. It doesn't seem like the green was done for the sake of it, out of laziness. This is arguably a Scizor in its purest form, retaining its original Scyther colors. Now, if only it could get hold of its iconic scythes again. Maybe there was some kind of fusion between Scizor and Scyther's hands. You know, they could invent some kind of claw-like scythe mechanism that could be used to slice through all sorts of things like hair and wrapping paper. Yeah, that's it. That's just what Scizor needs. With Mega Camerupt, no, we don't have to pretend here. Alright, we all know why he's here. He only exists because a certain Hoenn henchman in a big red jacket, I think he wears weird goggles or something too. He just can't get enough of his camels. He loves his camels. Yes, he does. He even got his initials branded on his forehead, like a dog tag. So for a Mega Evolution that was already so unasked for, the shiny really didn't need to exceed all expectations. There were none to begin with. It's like Mega Camerupt is self-aware. Look, I know I'm a bit of an oddball choice. I'm only here because my dad works for Nintendo, so I'll earn my keep, alright? I'll put a bit of effort into the shiny here. I'll dress up a bit. Objectively, the same as the base form shiny camel, but that portable volcano constantly erupting, the red really makes the black stand out a lot more. I look at Mega Gardevoir's shiny compared to many of the unchanged other Mega Evolution shiny forms. I'm thinking, what did you get a key role in the anime or something? Why don't they all get a fun change like this? Why didn't they all go shopping? Look at the favoritism there. Gallade was lucky to even get the underside of his cape touched up. If anything, this shiny form makes its blades look even more dull, like they're made entirely of Colgate. Gardevoir properly changes the dress gimmick to black. So upper tier alone, just for taking some initiative, actually dressing up for the occasion. It's like some of these Pokemon, they don't even care that they're Mega Evolving. It's if they don't realize they're getting the best gimmick Pokemon's ever gonna come up with for the next 11 years. Like, you're only getting one prom night, alright? We all know green is very overplayed. In fact, the conversation about it is almost as overplayed as they're actually doing it. But I don't think you can argue against it being used for Mega Beedrill, somehow making it look even more like a warning sign. Goes from an on-site hazard sign down a new build house extension to an on-site hazard sign down Chernobyl. The blue eyes as well. They make it look that extra bit cold. In nature, an insect with this color combination could only mean you're one sting away from becoming a D-tier Spider-Man villain. Imagine if Peter Parker were instead stung by this radioactive hornet. He wouldn't have ever been Spider-Man. He'd be dead. Mega Sableye going for that Ruby to Emerald upgrade, or depending on your outlook, Hyrulean economy downgrade. Now these boys feast on Gemeral's delicious gamer loot. They'd consume each other's eyeballs the first chance they get. But if you're gonna be eating Hyrule's equivalent to an old Andrew Jackson each meal, you might as well make that meal a bit more cost efficient. At the end of the day, bread's bread. He's just changed flavor within Sableye society. The mega ones are just walking about with one of them 26-pound gummy bears. The shiny's only gonna make it even more obvious to all the other Sableye what a glutton he is. Fat bastard, gonna share that rupee anytime soon on that. Hoarding the wealth he is. Oh, the rich stay richer. Always knew he was well off financially. Still got the full set of eyeballs. He's not been in the trenches. He hasn't even come close to resorting to eating them yet, like the rest of us working class Sableyes. The big Swamper, an enlarged mud-thriving entity, somehow looking this clean. To be in his element would be that of a freshly bathed white Labrador willing to risk it all. And still, the guy's looking fresher than the majority of shiny forms. No need for change from base form Swamper. The purple and orange is an undefeated color combo. The Mega Juice just gives its body much more surface area to really flex that shine on you with. Shiny Mega Ampharos with the purple goes even harder with the blue balls on him. In this case, I don't mind they kept the same hair color. I could ask Mega Ampharos the same thing I did Alakazam. Missed the opportunity to whack the hair dye out. But Ampharos has much more going for it. At least he got his balls dyed. You know, that's the equivalent to Alakazam spoons here. All them blue orbs to be pondering on his tail. I know Kyogre's going crazy right now. About to risk it all. Perching around Shiny Ampharos like a cat snooping over their sleeping owner. Testing the waters to see if enough time has gone to finally start eating them. Is the potential super effective thunder damage of a mega shiny Ampharos worth it? His own worst enemy is Kyogre. His existence spawns the very weather necessary for thunder to never miss. Guy can't escape it. Imagine if you came with a special ability that reads, ensures you a 100% chance of getting stabbed. Getting his grubby fins on a premier shiny like Mega Ampharos though. Maybe, just maybe getting a little shank, just a smidgen of a knife in it, maybe be worth it. The original opening is a shiny, that's fine enough. Hey, well, another definition of fine. Many of you lot are thinking towards Lopunny, you know, the one with about 20 eyes lingering on the word, but the power of Mega Evolution bestowing Lopunny with a pair of Nike Tech joggers. The added black, it wraps up all them colors up very nicely. Mega Slowbro, a true slow brother in this form, a very soothing color palette, in a pure state of zen in its mellow blue. Well, depending on your outlook really, going from a fleshy, healthy pink to blue, it might be the opposite of zen. They say Mega Evolution is a painful process for the Pokemon undergoing the transformation. For all we know, that shell's got him gripped up. My man could be fighting for his life in there. Mega Slowbro in the shiny form almost looks like if they made a fun mascot to promote circumcision awareness. Mega Sharpedo, not to be confused with Galarian Mr. Mime, who's just a Mega P. Purple Sharpedo, another one where the added design traits of the Mega form, it brings it out quite a bit more. They also seem to have toned down the yellow scars it had going on, which I can only assume is to limit it from looking too Wario-esque. Even with the rough skin, you couldn't help but want to feel firsthand just how sleek that build is. If Archie pulled up in a submarine that fresh, that big baller, you wouldn't think he's trying to ruin civilization by sinking the planet. No, you'd think he's doing it the modern way, one day at a time, keeping the streets full of fentanyl. I cannot decide which of the Charizard Mega Shinies I prefer more. All I know is I do be rating the pair of them neck and neck ranking wise, with maybe Charizard Y just edging out the X form. I'm mainly just glad they each have their own individuality to them and they didn't just copy the black and red Charizard. As much as these two are solid shinies, I would have fully rated the return of purple and green Charizard from Gen 2. The classic purple shiny Charizard color scheme, along with Mega Charizard X's design, could have been peak Lizardon. Mega Pinsir, on its own, looks fuming enough on a Rager. Now the shiny one, it looks like you flicked him too hard. You visibly inflicted significant damage, and now it's turbo fuming. You've now reached the second phase of the boss fight, where he moves twice as fast and probably has an insta-kill attack from the offset that'll fill you in if you don't know it's coming. Now Mega Pinsir, he's a freak. You know, not the freaky Heracross way. See, Mega Pinsir, he looks as though he would very much like for me to perish, whereas I would very much like Mega Heracross to perish. The blue Mega Pinsir is looking sleek, updated model all the way, like a second wave of DS Lite models coming in. Such a soothing color for such a threatening specimen. If anything, the almost metallic blue, along with a mouth like that, only makes it look even more as though it eats magnemites like an industrial waste shredder. Guy could probably reduce a Revavroom to a cube like he's doing a 60-minute Mega Mix Grill challenge. A very solid case for a mega banger shiny is Medicham. Another case where it's not strayed from the original too much, and you might not have thought much about a shiny Medicham, but its form, it makes you pay a bit of attention. This shiny, the golden blue, it elevates it into being a primetime selection because the shiny Mega adds so much more presence. The key of a deity surrounding it makes you almost forget its preferred weapon of choice appears to be Beanbag. With this shiny, you can clearly see it has reached true enlightenment. Actual nirvana. You know, I think there's something to that. I reckon there's a strong correlation between the happiest times of my life and the times of my life when I've been sat on a beanbag chair. Mega Pidgeot's original colors, they're still worthy in their own right, but something about shiny just hits so differently. Makes it look like some kind of legendary Pidgeot you'd see in a flashback 1,000 years ago. Mega Pidgeot, the cinematic director's cut, the dark blue purple tips. It's one of them less is more kind of game changers. The prestige increase going from entry level root jobber, something that spawned 4 out of 5 times in your average patch of grass, into something which in its shiny form would have a worthy claim to be a static encounter. With Mega Manectric, in all fairness to him, the lightning bolt's grown on me after all these many 10 years. And yes, to this day, it's not exactly the most subtle design around. The equivalent of Hitmonlee Mega evolving into an Adidas Samba. But the darker yellow and grey combo, it works stupidly well for this Mega. The salvaging this form has done for the Manectric species. The base form is near enough the same shiny, but still looks like a bum. I've never seen a more third gym badge tier Pokemon. You ain't sure it's sound enough with speed and special attack. But I feel as though before Mega Evolution, the only way Manectric saw any action past Route 111 is because Nuzlocke exist, or you lost the Thunderbolt TM to give to Gardevoir. It was already one of my most used Megas back in the day, but I didn't even realize just how pristine it was looking shined up. If you don't think Mega Mawile is an elite Mega Evolution, period, you're out of your mind. You gotta start wearing your reading glasses more often. You probably think Mega Mawile is that big shopping center they added in the remake. The mad thing is, it's not very far off the original shiny, but the Mega has managed to turn your standard purple tint job into this premier banger. This kind of Mega Evolution is just unfair for a Mawile. You have to think. You may be lucky enough to exist as a shiny Pokemon, but how do you even integrate back into society, into your life, living normally again as a one-mouthed Mawile after experiencing the high of being in a form this fresh? Silver Metagross, it was the way to go in the first place. You don't have to change perfection. But if you feel the need to, then, I don't know, installing an ice-cold spoiler on him, it's not a bad shout at all. Metagross had it all to begin with. The brawns, the brains, then somehow even more brawn. Now equipped to pull off a hand-for-hand test of strength against a Machamp. Now shiny Megagross gets fully pimped out. Many modifications that I'm sure aren't road legal clearly installed. I don't think it gets any more high roller than the full platinum body on a Mega Metagross. The power trip one must have just existing as a Metagross, let alone the added ego spike, knowing you're the biggest baller roaming the routes of Pokemon. Imagine leaving your Beldum down the daycare center, you forget about it for a month, and shiny Megagross is the outcome. Like leaving your Corsa in a garage unsuspected, and somehow MTV's camera crew have installed an 8-man jacuzzi in the back. Congratulations, your Beldum now has a retractable tanning bed and a chocolate water fountain. Mega Rayquaza somehow outguns one of the best legendary shinies, maybe the best one going. The black and orange attachments make it somehow a 2-time all-timer. We all know Deoxys, right? He's a terrifying entity to even think about in a hypothetical sense. But let's say you're the president of Unova. Deoxys is en route. You've got 2 big buttons on your desk, Mr. President. You know what they do? One launches the nukes straight at its meteor. The other launches a TM for Dragon Ascent and a portable DVD player straight to the top of Sky Pillar. I know what decision I'd be making. I'd be going all in on Big Ray, but I'd be taping a shiny charm to that disc, you know, just to try my luck, because I know Mega Rayquaza would get the job done. But if it's the black and orange Mega Rayquaza going up them stairs, there wouldn't be any fight. I don't care what kind of shape-shifting cheese string demon you're meant to be. You'd be wishing you packed the smoke ball to run from that interaction. It'd be a terrifying enough sight seeing Mega Rayquaza bloodlusted with the belt in both hands, let alone the belt sparkles. One sight of that and Deoxys would be morphing into his giant human hand form to clasp them together in prayer and close his eyes as he recites the Lord's Prayer as quickly and as many times as possible. One sight of this Mega Shiny would reform Deoxys into a fully devout Quaker. An all-timer. This is what we're here for, isn't it? Gengar's true shiny. Because base form shiny Gengar, it somehow looks even less shiny than the standard factory model. I reckon the only way to find out if your Gengar really was shiny in the first place would be to Mega Evolve it. And weirdly enough, how many ghost Pokemon are actual conventional bright white ghosts? Like how many are the standard media portrayal Casper looking, boo, gotcha, eye floater ghosts? I mean, kinda, Corsolet, that's the only pure white one I can think of. Maybe they're thinking far gone are the days of the shinies being a niche little Easter egg for the seasoned pro gamer. It's too late now to be pulling out sly little retcons like we did for our Lizardon and Mewtwo back then, back when the screens didn't even have a backlight for you to see them without the assistance of the Pixar lamp. I say, nah. To that. Nah, a lot of shinies deserve a good re-roll. Honestly, at this point, just retcon the original. Just do it. Have the entire family suited up in the all white. Except maybe Ghastly. You know, he's still looking fairly baller in his shiny. But still, nowhere near the level of baller shiny Megagar is. Megengar. As I was just saying, sometimes when a new form is introduced, it's a nice way to retcon a botched shiny. But sometimes there's no botch to be seen. The toe knife hasn't even come out the drawer yet to commit the botchery. Gyarados is one where you don't stray too far off the menu from what you know. Stick to the classic colors. Although Gyarados, I think he'd work on almost any color really. Mega shiny Gyarados has all these darker reds on it. One of the hardest shinies, and they've somehow managed to have it go even harder and look somehow even deadlier. Mega Gyarados in the red form looks how getting a lash off a bullwhip would probably feel. My top shiny here is a very close call. If you're talking like net profits in shiny improvements, obviously Gengar clears. But overall, Mega Gyarados is just the one for me.